So as we look at the use cases, our job as regulators is not to try to stifle the innovation or to drive it in a particular direction. We really have to look at what our mandate is, and at the SEC in the US, it's really to protect investors in the market. My hope is that firms will work with regulators globally in order to meet the expectations that will be placed by the global regulators on these firms. My fear, I guess, is that they won't do this. They'll continue to operate the way they're operating, and I don't think in that respect we're going to see the promises of DLT, because anything beneficial is going to be drowned out by the harm that will continue to happen as firms do not comply with basic investor and market protection.
Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and that was Valerie Saspinek. She is the head of the Strategic Hub for Innovation and Financial Technology at the SEC and has been called for years the Crypto Czar. What is disturbing is she admits that the actions that the SEC will take are going to hold back the promises of distributed ledger technology, DLT. This is seriously causing harm to the United States because other countries and companies are leapfrogging. And that leapfrogging is apparent in a new Ripple interview, an article with James DeBasio.
Hello and welcome. I'm James. I'm founder and editor of DigFin, covering all things digital finance.
As Brooks Entwistle, the Senior Vice President and Managing Director of Ripple in Singapore, highlights on his LinkedIn page, James was thanked for his fantastic piece on how Asia is becoming the linchpin in the scramble to win the Web3 future. The article points to some great traction Ripple is experiencing with XRP, but also is very honest to some of the threats and challenges. The key battleground is now Asia. 80% of the 15 billion global flows are outside of the United States, with half of the volume in the Asia-Pacific region. According to the article, RippleNet is used by more than 70 banks. Entwistle acknowledges he spends a lot of time having to make the case that XRP is independent of Ripple, the company. He makes the point that Ripple's origins were in payments, but they've moved into other solutions: liquidity, custody, tokenization. Looking ahead, the rise of CBDCs could provide a challenge to Ripple. The mBridge and the Project Dunbar, which are multi-central bank pilots out of Hong Kong and Singapore, respectively, a Hong Kong-Thailand mBridge or a Singapore to UAE corridor using CBDCs could render RippleNet irrelevant. Single corridor CBDCs would be a real challenge for us, Entwistle said. But that's only one part of the unfolding opportunity. What about the enterprise customer doing payroll or paying suppliers in 50 markets? That's where we come in, he said, although Ripple has a long way to go before it would be able to offer liquidity in so many networks. He also acknowledges that the commercial banks' blockchain-based networks, think of JP Morgan's Onyx, for example, or the recently announced Canton network involving 24 financial institutions using DAML programming language, pose a commercial threat. We have the lead, but people are chasing us and they're good, he said. Whether it's a CBDC solution, a stablecoin, or XRP will depend on the use case, Entwistle said. There's not a one-chain future. Also, those commercial banks are good at creating safe, permissioned spaces, but they lack the reach of a public, permissionless blockchain such as Ethereum or RippleNet, which is partly decentralized. It's unclear how any of this settles, locally, regionally, or worldwide. We need partners and acquisitions in many markets. My take after reading that article is Hinman greenlighting Ethereum, followed by the SEC attacking Ripple and XRP, has clearly brought confusion to the US and financially hurt thousands of investors. But moreover, the SEC severely damaged a fair market competition, and I think they should be held accountable. Today, the NASDAQ congratulated Ripple on their acquisition of Metaco. This is their full acquisition of a company, and it is for custody. If you haven't yet dove into the 62-page Crypto Trends in Business and Beyond by Ripple, the 2023 New Value Report, I think it's a must, because this really does outline the direction that Ripple, the company, is going. They are branching out well beyond just payments. Tokenization is front and forward for Ripple with its $16 trillion opportunity. And I think you'll see that they're hedging their bets on more than just payments. 10987654 321. All right. Moving to a new subject, we've got an article that came out of Forbes today that Chainalysis is, well, helping with some investigations. Thousands of investigations are now underway, and they're using sophisticated forensic techniques in helping the U.S. Department of Justice, the Internal Revenue Service, and dozens of other government agencies around the world. Keep it legal, everybody, and pay your taxes. There's a real scientific XRP price model out there. It's something that I shared last year, written by 3 mathematicians in Japan. It was funded by the Ripple Impact Fund. That is a kind of grant that they offered to get this done. The authors developed a novel method. It's a correlation tensor spectra for dynamical XRP networks, providing early price indication for XRP. And why I shared this again is because I found that if you put some of these correlation mathematical equations into the chat OpenAI, it gives you an explanation and you can better understand the work, because quite frankly, in looking at what they had done, it was completely Greek. I mean, there's just a lot of symbols and long strings of calculations that I have no idea what it is they're doing. But if you paste some of those into the OpenAI, you get this explanation of what you're looking at. It's quite interesting. This was one of the answers that was given on the Pearson correlation coefficient. And yeah, it's much more understandable when it's explained to you in this way instead of just looking at a string of symbols. I'm going to let Brendan Barry take this video out. He's the head of payments products at Ripple. It's a video that was uploaded a few days ago and hasn't had a lot of views yet. Until next time, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'll say Ripple Payments, our cross-border payment solution, really differs in that it's allowing this flexibility to our customers that previously they didn't have. And so it's a really interesting paradigm, and it's such a light bulb moment when you get to talk to our enterprise customers and say, hey, walk us through how you are operating your business today, how you are initiating payments today. And that same sense of anxiety and frustration of, when I go to initiate an international wire, I check it later in the day, I check it the next day, I check it the next day, and I hope and I pray that it clears and it settles and there are no issues. And showing them a solution that gives them a quote in terms of 2 fiat currencies with all complexity associated with interacting with digital assets completely obscured, but allows them the benefits of interacting with digital assets, namely instant settlement, 365, 24/7 uptime. It's really incredible to see how much that impacts an organization, allowing them, again, that agility, but allowing them an ability to deploy all sorts of working capital across their organization, really creating a boon to their efficiency that they previously didn't have, and just assumed that was a constraint that they had to operate under. I'll just say, I think we're at a really, really, really exciting time when you're having more and more companies that are not only investing in creating products in this space, but are really solving problems. And you've seen a broad interest in institutional adoption, whether that be from companies like Visa or MasterCard or Amazon. You've seen institutional entrants that are driving more liquidity and more utility. And the reason behind that, and our focal point at Ripple, is because utility is here. It's not a promise of the future. Blockchain used to be a technology that was focused on, in these types of conversations, of what could it do? And we're at a paradigm right now where what is it doing? And it's solving real customer pain points and problems. And I think cross-border payments is really an incredible space where you can see that impact today, here and now.